What is up, watch friends? Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces with Tony. Today is Friday. Welcome to Friday. Right on. Let's have a drink real quick. Today I am wearing my Santos de Cartier large on the custom Cartier burgundy leather strap. I gotta do another video on this watch soon. But today we're gonna be doing a Q&A. And so let's just roll the intro and we'll get into it, all right?
You're watching Timepieces with Tony. Talking Timepieces with Tony. You're watching Talking Timepieces with Tony. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I got a couple of questions here. One's a long one and one's a short one. The first question is from one of my viewers, and he's commented before. His name's Harold Bennett, and his basically is a two-part question. And it just basically says, hey, Tony, I know you have a pretty good relationship with your AD, and here's the question that I have. One, yes, I do have a good relationship with my AD. Juan is awesome, and we stay in touch. So the question is, what or is there a level of coordination between Rolex and ADs regarding what watches are sent to the ADs? I don't know. Well, all right. So I think it depends on the AD. All right. The only person who would actually know this for sure 100% would probably be Paul Thorpe. So I would ask that question to him. Since he knows everybody at fucking Rolex, since he's got such a high up thing going with him. But sometimes I want to bring back a drink and a rant. I really do. There's too much good stuff. Okay, so no, not really. I mean, Rolex do whatever they want, man. They sort of basically send the watches at their discretion to the ADs. Now, I would imagine that, again, throughout the entire world, it may be different in different companies and how big that AD is, how many watches they sell, what their direct relationship is with Rolex. So I can't speak on behalf of all of the ADs, but I can say that the ADs that I know, they get kind of what they get. They can't order specific watches. It's basically, the watches are allocated to those ADs at Rolex's discretion. So that should probably answer your second part. Does the list that customers are put on get sent to Rolex so it can determine what pieces to send to the AD, or does Rolex just truly ship random pieces to the AD? Have a great day. You have a great day too, man. I appreciate your question. No, because there's no list. See, that's the thing. Everybody says there's a list and the list, and I say it too. I'm on the list for this. And essentially what it is, again, I cannot speak for other ADs. All ADs are independent. They're independent of Rolex. They're not affiliated with Rolex. So I guess it all depends on, again, the relationship with the AD to actual Rolex. My AD, I know that they have several locations, but they're not they're not watches of Switzerland or whatever. But they get the watches that they get, and they can't tell you when a certain watch is going to come in. I mean, it's like when my AD texts me and says, "Hey, man, I got an Explorer. Do you want it?" That just means he got it, and he's like thinking of people that he knows that are his customers or good customers, and he'll send me texts on various different Rolexes that he gets, and if I want it, I kind of get sort of first dibs on the ones that he's sending to me. I don't know if he ever gets a Daytona. He's not going to sit there and go, "Hey, dude, do you want a Daytona?" He's probably got some people with way much bigger spending histories than I do for those types of watches. But there's no real list. Really what it is each sales rep I don't know for each sales rep. I can tell you my rep, he will take a note of what you want. If you want a Daytona, you want a GMT, you want an Explorer, you want a Deep Sea, whatever it may be, Yachtmaster, whatever. and he'll put it on his little list, and that's his list. That's not a list for the AD itself. That's the sales rep's personal list. The AD know nothing about it. Makes sense. And then when the watches come in and they get allocated to the stores, there's only so many sales reps, and they get only so many watches that are divided between those sales reps. Now, if one sales rep is a better sales rep than one, do they get a better pick of the share? I don't know that either, but I can tell you that that's how that works. They get allocated a certain amount of watches, and that's really how it is. It's not, again, there's no, I think there are some ADs that do have more of a specific thing that you can put your name on. And again, but each AD is privately owned. So however that store is run, however management runs that store or the owners run that store is up to them. But Rolex do not know anything about their list or what they want. They don't care. They just allocate the watches accordingly, if that makes sense. I hope that answers your question. So when it comes down to it, you know, if you get a good rep and you say this is what you want, sometimes they just don't know when it's going to come in. I mean, with my some of the watches I've got, you know, I wasn't expecting to get a Submariner, and it was just a pretty much a random kind of thing. He knew I liked the Submariner, but just basically said, "Hey, I have a no date sub. Do you want it?" Kind of thing. I'm like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah," you know, and that's it. I'm like, you know, as far as when I've asked him like, "How long do you think it'll take before I get an OP or something like that?" He goes, "I'll get one for you. I promise I'll get one for you." But doesn't tell me specifically when, you know, so he can't say, well, it's going to be here in February, you know, but other ADs may know. Makes sense. All right, so thank you for your question. I appreciate it. The next one comes from a longtime viewer, first time caller, long time listener, Riza R. He's commented before a lot, so dude, right on. You do leave long messages sometimes, so it's all good. I love your comments. So sorry for the long message. As for the other AD who sold me the Datejust 41 3 months ago, should I make contact every couple of months or so they remember I'm still interested in the sub? Yes. Um, you know, this is actually a section from another comment that was really long. So I believe you have a Daytona already, and you finally got a Datejust, and you really want to sub. So yes, make contact with them. You know, periodically, I would go in if you can go in, not just make a phone call or inquire. Just go in. The last time I called to ask about a watch roll that they had, she mentioned she is not sure about the sub that I'm on the list for, as it's all done centrally, hence has no idea, but said she'd get me on the list for the Omega Speedmaster Snoopy, but that'll be hard, and the Omega Speedmaster 321 Ed White. Again, she's saying put you on the list, right? So again, we all say the list. Maybe they do have that list, okay? You know, I would still, you know, contact them and go in about the sub. I mean, that seems to be the watch you want, right? And why would she randomly just say that she's trying to get you on the list for the Omega Snoopy or the Ed White Speedmaster if you hadn't already expressed an interest in it, right? So, but even still, having said that, I don't know what your conversation was. If you do get on the list for the Snoopy, um, and you do get that watch, let's see, because you said people said you'd be stupid if you didn't pick it up. Yeah, I mean, if the Snoopy came in, buy it, pick it up, man. That's a bitchin' watch, man. And yeah, it's really hard to get. It is worth a lot of money as well, but you know that shouldn't be the point. But the thing is that it is a really cool watch. The front is cool. It's got Snoopy on it. The back actually has that the moon, and and that runs automatically where the actual Snoopy flies towards the moon. Then I believe on the new ones, they also have the Apollo 13 uh, engraved in the back, as well as a 1970 stamp, Apollo 13, I think. Yeah. Um, as far as the Ed White Speedmaster, that's the 321. Okay, so that's the most authentic Speedmaster Really, this question should be directed towards my sister because she knows way more about the Speedmaster and the history and all that stuff than I do. So, I'm just going to answer it in my opinion as best I can. Okay. So the Ed White is the most kind of authentic of the Speedmasters, meaning that the 321 movement is the movement that actually did go to the moon, right? Whereas the movement that's in the watch now, granted, wasn't the movement that they'd used when it went to the moon, although you have the Speedmaster mission, not mission, but the moon watch, right? But are you willing to pay that price, that premium for that 321 movement? I don't think it's worth it. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I think if you're really authentic and you really want that whole thing, then go for it. I don't think it's worth paying that excess price or that premium just for that 321 movement, but that's up to you. It sounds like you just really want, let's see, if they miraculously get the Snoopy, I've heard it would be stupid to turn it down. Um, and the 321 Ed White, I'm not sure I want it as it's twice the price of the normal Speedmaster. Yeah, I mean, you're saying you're not sure if you want it. Don't spend the money. Don't. It's just get that out of your head. Don't even think about it. Um, Rolex is my priority. So what would your strategy be in keeping in touch with them? Strategy being, I would keep in touch with them. I would periodically follow up with them, even check some other ADs. I believe, yeah, I remember your situation before, but I drag it out too long. But go, dude, just wait for the sub, man. Just go in there periodically, every once a month, maybe every 6 weeks, and just keep inquiring about it and let them know you're serious, man. As far as them, like, I'm wearing my date just so they know I'm not a flipper. Date justs aren't really flipper watches right now at the moment, especially the way the market is. However, I know that right now with the pound in Britain is just crashing. So apparently Rolex is about 31% cheaper in the UK now than it is in the States. And you get these other watch channels saying, yeah, I'll go to England and you can get a Rolex for 31% cheaper. Good luck, dude. Not you, because you live in England, man. But for people out here that are dumb enough to sit there and go, well, let me buy a ticket to England, then I'm gonna have to pay for my hotel and accommodation and food, and then I'm gonna go to the Rolex dealer and tell them I want a GMT and pick it up, yeah, and save 31% when they're not gonna be able to get the watch either. So, anyway, I hope this answers your question. Um, I do appreciate everyone liking and subscribing and viewing and all that stuff. Other than that, you guys have a great weekend. And any questions, just throw them my way, and I'll do a video on them if they're good questions. So, all right, I appreciate it. You guys take care.